Welcome to Episode 12 of the Mirandus Farmer's Almanac. I'm your host, Anna. Co-hosting with me is Wolfie the Wolfenite. This episode, we talk supply chains and the economy as a whole. How will it work? Is it left to us, the players, to create? Will Gala create a success for us? Or will be an effort on both parties to create how commerce and trade works in this massive online game? Join us as we have a discussion on the mysteries or strategies that make Mirandus' economy function. And feel free to drop us a comment on how you think parts of this play-to-earn system might work and how it could impact us all. Alright, let's listen in. Alright, but I wanted to, before we started, just tell about this scam that's happening, because it happened to me. I didn't get scammed, but it's like these scammers are evolving in this space, right? So they're using coins they make and NFTs they make to scam you into giving their private keys. So I just want to say, if anybody gets coins that drop into their wallet and they have no idea where these coins came from or what they are, don't interact with them. Because the idea behind these coins is to get you to interact with with an exchange that they made to get you to sign off on a wallet on your private keys and steal all your shit in your wallet. And this is like the latest thing out there, and it's, everybody, I feel like everybody knows that, what the scams are. You get them. I had to turn off my DMs on Discord just because scammers leaving shit all the time. But this is just something that, can actually get you, because curiosity does kill the cat with some of these coins that are coming out, and you don't know what they are, and you interact with them, and all of a sudden all your shit's gone. So, anyways, the Solana, I was telling you about that, the Solano Ebu. Do you remember me telling you Solano Inu?
I told you. You warned me about something, but you didn't get into specifications.
I don't know. I only mess with Star Atlas on Solano. I don't mess with anything else. And I got this Solano Inu coin, 1,000 of them, that just were dropped into my wallet. And so that curiosity kind of takes you to something where you connect to your wallet to sell them. But anyways, if you see anything like that, ignore it. Don't fuck with it. Same goes with NFTs. You see the NFTs. Don't stake them on anything.
Celebrity, my friend. Nobody be sending me no free tokens like that.
Dude, I had this NFT. I think it was an advertisement. I don't know. Some guy just advertising shit. Or his art, right? He was just advertising art that he does. It was kind of interesting idea. You got art for your project you want to build. This guy's an artist. He just drops you an NFT, and it's all the NFT is it plays a video of him doing his art shit. But I think OpenSeas took that down because it disappeared from my wallet. And I was good with that because I don't want that shit in my wallet. But I'm just saying, if they're staking with NFTs, are coming out now, and I can see scammers getting into, you got this NFT dropped to your wallet. Well, what is this? And you investigate, and it takes you to your investigation takes you to this site where you stake this. And I'm like, cool, free tokens, when actually they're just stealing your shit. So.
Well, I get free NFTs. I've gotten several in my hidden side of the MetaMask wallet lately. About 4 of them, actually.
What? Staking?
Yeah. No, I haven't looked into them.
Yeah. If you don't know where they came from, don't fuck with them.
Yeah, I just realized that I looked over. Actually, it's because Unstoppable allows us to mint now on Poly, so it sends them over to your meta and stashes them in your hidden side.
Gotcha. And
I was looking at that and realized that I have
Well, if I can save one person or give one person some info on this, I just wanted to do that shout out. But enough time on that. All right. Yeah. So I got one of the comments, and it's from Chapo. He wants to see a conversation around different supply chain links, which are most clearly defined. Dude, that opens up a rabbit hole right there, right? I don't know if we can comment too much on that, but I'd like to try to dive into a bit of that economics. But so supply chain links, and which are most clearly defined. I think he's talking about buildings, right? Like how the supply chain works and stuff. Would you got any take on that?
I definitely know that they got the brewery system set up. Other than we don't know where they're gonna come up with honey yet.
I thought they were doing
Um,
like some bees, but yeah, go
that
for it.
hasn't dropped on us yet. They said something about that, but I figured we would have seen that by now.
I would set it up close to like the way Town Stars is played exactly. So the buildings that you have on a deed, right? You want them to talk as close to the other buildings as possible without going too far. So like dairies, right? If you had dairies, I would assume like on that same deed you would also want to have your cows and a barn, just everything to make that dairy work as efficient as possible. And then the rest of what it needs, a deed as close to it as possible to make that supply chain work. And I think there's going to be a lot of workings around deed layouts on the map, even though we won't see a map, but I think it opens up like supply chains and economy are like hand in hand, right? So like, how do you get the best supply chain working out of all this?
Here in America, we go to Mexico and China.
Well, it comes down to cost too, but I don't know. There's a lot that comes down to with, I mean, the supply chains and how it's going to work with, there's not a lot to know about the buildings and how the buildings work. We just found out about graveyards with Jake Broski's interview with McCarthy. So now we got a clear idea of how the graveyards work, and that's one building, right? Now he mentions how sausage is made, and I think you can make comparison to like what you need with dairies. You got your cheeses, your milk, so you're going to need cows, right? Mills, granaries. So you would want that stuff easily accessible for your dairy, so you would want those other buildings on the same deed, but then you're not going to have it all. You need a town to sell it to, and I think it comes down to like setting up the map, right, with the deeds that are like within a vicinity. How do you find that vicinity? How does deeds talk to deeds, and the buildings coincide with other buildings with deeds that are next to each other? And how do you set that up?
Won't that only be in the beginning part though? Because once the curing kind of gets more established, people are going to start resourcing out and trying to find the best prices. So if that takes you traveling across the map, and it takes you 2 hours or paying another person to do it, it might be cheaper still that direction than paying the guy that's next door for them same resources.
Right, but it's like setting up that whole. It's like you're not going to get a map, man. There's no map to see like where these deeds
No,
are
but
or
that's
where.
why you have like the Steris of Mirandus. So it's not a guild. It's designed so people looking for horses can come to a direct spot. They know exactly where they're trying to find that horse that they're looking for. If they're looking for more of a war horse that they can afford 3 ETH or whatever the price of it is, or are they looking for just a horse to get them to and from?
Sure,
Down at the
but
basic stables.
but the idea is to where do you get the horse? You'd be like, hey, I got this deed over here. Well, where's that deed over there? So let's just start at the beginning. Like, we know how the layout's going to happen, right? You're going to have your citadels first, right? And then it's going to be your dukes, and then it's going to be your viscounts and villages. Then it's going to be your hamlets and ranches, outposts, homestead, node owners, Gala Gold members, everybody else. That's the order of how we set up the map, even though you don't see the map. This is the information that I got is like, when you're going to put your deed down in the world, you're dropped into the world of Mirandus, right? And then you are going out there and running to where you want to set your deed up. There's no map. You don't know where you're going. You just going out
Is there
there.
a combative phase between
That's a
space
good
and where
question.
you're going?
That's a good question. I would say no.
Do I get killed 20 times before I
Yeah.
find my space?
I'm going to say there's this like phase where there's no monster and NCPs, right? In an open world, nothing's
Just
implemented
go out,
yet.
explore.
Yeah, you go and you find, well, even explorations and treasures, there's nothing like that yet. Right now, you're just
Well,
finding
no,
a
I mean,
place
you
where
gotta
your deed
explore the
fits.
basic of land mass of what you're trying
Yes,
to find.
yes. So, like, it was mentioned that Town of the Dukes, right? It's so massive, you can't just put it anywhere, right? There's selected locations where it's got to be, like, big enough for that place to fit. I mean, there's all kinds of places, but which place is it going to fit at in that world? How far are you going to go, right?
So
And
that part would mean that they're gonna expose the map or give them just a choice of picking one of said locations of that and first come, first serve or whatever it would
no,
be.
there's no map. You just got to find, I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know if it's like, all right, see if it fits in this spot, right? Is there too many trees around? I don't know how it works. The mountains, the landscapes. It's an open,
sounds
like
like
an
they've
open
already got it
place where it fits.
pre-designated.
I think there is. I think for like the bigger stuff, there is, right? You got to find this big open place where it might fit. So I'm not sure how that all works, but I know that's kind of how that works, right? Citadels are predetermined. This is where the citadel goes. It's already predetermined. As for the Dukes, maybe there's like, I don't know how many Town of the Dukes are. How many, like, I don't know. There could be like 100 spots you could fit a Town of the Duke, and that's all there is. Just giving an example. You know, it
We'll
could
give
be
them
like,
double the spaces, so
yeah, it
they're
could be
not
like
just stuck.
thousands of spots to put a hamlet, a farming hamlet, right? It's just you got to find a big enough plot where there's not stuff in the way where it fits. But even so, you're going out there and you're discovering where your place wants to be. So, with that in mind, and people are dropping a lot of money on this stuff, man. So, it's important to kind of, we're all trying to figure out how we can kind of profit out of this. So, I don't think you can go out there. I mean, you can, but is it wise to go out there and just drop your deed where you want to put your deed? Because I think you're going to have to uproot at some point in time because you don't want to be stuck to everybody's just throwing stuff wherever. It's a mess, right? Everybody's like, oh, I like this spot. And all of a sudden you're next to like 30 farming hamlets, right? That's the closest thing there's around. 30 farming hamlets, and they all have barns and they all have similar buildings or maybe a little bit of difference here and there. But you're just all selling to each other, man. There's no big towns. I don't know. You might be so far, far away from a duke or a baron.
Well, if you got that many people working at that kind of a space too, then as McCarthy likes to keep running the same story with wiping out that space of resources, you're going to have more issues. So people would be forced to move either direction.
Yeah, so you're going to have to uproot. So I don't know. I'm hoping that our guild can just be a community tool for people to communicate. How do you communicate? Do you like jump in together and follow each other? And you're like, because there's no world map, right? You don't see where this guy is. So it's like, for Winterfell, for example, it's like, all right, we're hanging out with Winterfell, right? They're going to sit up over here. All right, well, here's who we want, or what Winterfell needs. Here's what they need to talk to, right? So we have these guys kind of, all right, follow us, and we follow them out in the world, and they're setting up here, or they come and get somebody, right? Because it's going to have to be person to person. I'm over here, and you lead them to your town. This is where my town is. And then, okay, well, then I'll find somewhere close to you, somewhere out here. And do we set up like teams like that to kind of like explore the landscape around where somebody's at so we can kind of divvy up and then talk about what buildings are going to be here to talk to other buildings. So you save that kind of headache of like, listen, sir, your building isn't going to work on my deed because there's too many buildings around here, so you got to go. Or my deed isn't just going to work here. I have to uproot this deed and take it somewhere else. When I already have all these buildings on here that have like leases, you just can't uproot. McCarthy said you got to wait until the lease is over. So, even so, we're making the story, right? We're making the landscape. This is just part of the game. It's just trying to figure out how we're going to make the economy work. And I'm hoping that we can just kind of go out to the world and kind of talk to each other. Where are you at? I'm over here. Is there a way to do that? Does that make sense? It's a mouthful.
I think you're gonna get half and half even within the guild people are still going to be really reclusive and want their own space and not want to be all in each other's things. They're willing to do what they need to do for guild resources, payments, and anything else like that. But I think you're going to get half the people that still want to have their own space. It's just been that way always in every game I've played. Then you'll have the people that are dedicated to what you're saying. They'll see the same advantages that you're seeing, so they'll want to play that route. They'll pony up. You'll build your parties. You'll go out and play that. You'll figure out if you guys have the buildings needed to fill those demands, and if not, that's where you start looking at renting out or renting a space out to somebody that can bring in those spaces.
Yeah, I'd
But then
figure.
that person that you bring in, is he going to agree to the same prices that you're wanting to pay, knowing that, said so over here's making this much? Because mentality is, if I'm not making what someone else I heard was making, then I should be doing, so you're going to run into those issues.
Yeah, but that all circles around like how you're set up on the world map, how deeds are set up on the world map, like
Yeah, but
like a farming
these are,
village. What's a farming village going to provide for?
but that's what I'm saying though, that unless you own every building and the business is operating in there and you set the prices, you can't control what the crazy person that brings in. He could be all the same stats as you are when you guys first start out, but give him 3 months and he's realizing that the farm up the road's making more money than he is, and he decides to up the prices on you, so no longer is he valuable to you.
Right. So what
So
that
now
means,
you're
it's time
out
to uproot and
resourcing.
go.
Well, uproot him at the end of his lease, but till then you're still stuck. And like, we don't know what the lease terms are on these things. Are they 6 months? Are they 2 weeks? Are
I
they, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm hoping that you get it to decide. Also, another tool I'd like to see is you have like little signs for plots for sale, right? Can anybody roll up on this? Can anybody roll up on this plot and just say, "Hey, I want to buy this spot," and you buy it and you're there, right? Or can it be like, "I want to buy this spot. Oh, wait, this spot's only for taverns," right? Where there's a selection where you can kind of control what goes on
Well, I
to your
believe
deed.
they've already stated that we
Did they?
control what we want in that space. Yeah, because we don't want to just have anybody in our space in there. Everybody's already looking to vet no matter what.
Well, is it permission
So,
based? It's just like all I remember
y-
hearing is like, this is the
well, yeah,
price for
because
this spot. So any building can go there, or can you select what buildings you
no,
want to
I
go on what
believe you would have
spots?
control of doing that. I don't
Yeah.
see why they would have that, because that's a dangerous thing to do to yourself.
Yeah, true. I would hope.
Like at
Yeah.
that point, you're not posting it up for rent like that, or it's not available to anybody unless you come talk to me. And at that point, I'm putting it up for you.
True. But
I mean,
anyways,
if you,
I hope everybody gets
yeah,
the point of what we're talking about, like the map setup, right? How well you're talking to other deeds in that area, and what buildings are on those deeds, and if it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's fluent, right? Everything's working fluid like. It's not congested with too many taverns in one area, or not, rather, I don't know if you can have too many taverns even, but like just like too many farms close together with similar buildings, right? So it's more just kind of spread out, nice and economy like fun. So you can have a great supply chain where it's like your dairy can like have all the things it needs and it works the most efficient, where you can get the income you need. So knowing that, the next question is, how is that supply chain and that economy going to be driven? And there's two ways this could go, right? So one way is you just have I don't know, your traveling merchants, right? I don't know. Do you have thoughts on this? I mean, I have thoughts on this, but I'll just talk forever.
I
I got some ideas.
I think that the economy is going to be based on people that own the shops. Well, you can have your deed owners if they don't establish their own businesses on there that they want to fill in, then that's where the rental space comes in. So that automatically engages the economy because now the rent is being paid in forward. Uh, once shops get into place, then you've got people that need resources. So the shop person either can go out and collect them resources, and I believe put an NPC in place and control that. But I'm pretty sure that's going to have a fee to it somehow. So, because you're still going to want the economy opened up, so it might be in a better interest to hire somebody and like get a discount rate or something like the incentives are for government stuff. Um, because I can't see them building an ecosystem simulator like this without trying to inhabit people to employ real people. That's got to be part of the game there. So maybe it's not a full-time thing because people got to go. They can only play for a couple hours or whatever, and that's where the NPC kicks back in or something. But at least you got hands-on with some real people in your shops. So that builds into the economy. Plus, you're paying an NPC fee or something towards Gala. Um, excuse me. Then you will have people that need to go out and collect these resources if the shop owners aren't out doing this stuff, which brings in the mats. Mats need to be re we call it refurbished into refined or whatever. There you go, refined into a usable material because leather just doesn't fall off of a cow and it's usable, nor is ore pulled from the ground and smelted and whatnot. So you get, I mean, there's a lot of levels. So every level there is on these things that your friend or this person's asking on, it's all based on every stage of this. So the basic player that doesn't own anything or has the basic stuff that's given to them or whatever at the beginning of the game, that'll get you out into the field to collect the bush or the berries that are needed, or you are a miner now and you're resourcing your time in that space for however long you can, and that's how you get paid out. It's honestly it's pretty genius and easily, other than the math and numbers being done on their side as the ecosystem, but as it basics, it's every day we wake up and do the same thing.
Yeah, true. And that's just one of the ways to go. I'm trying to ask this question for there was an idea that I had for the billboard, and I keep trying to ask this question, and I can't get. I mean, I asked it on one, and they said they loved that idea. Like Jason was like, "Oh, I love that idea. It's brilliant." Eric's like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And then it kind of got, drowned it out. But I really want to know if this could, because it could change the way the economy is run. Is having this billboard on your deed, whether they want to sell it as a decoration NFT and anyways, it's kind of working like a DEX. So there's two ways this could run. It's like you could have your workers and your merchants doing all this economy, going out and getting the stuff and bringing it back, and you paying them to do these, your workers, right? You want to hire somebody to go and do these things and bring these things back, right? Or you could have adventures doing this with that DEX, like a billboard on the deed. And as a merchant, you would be like, shit, I need some stuff to make some milk, or I don't know, I got a potion shop and I need herbs, right? And these are the herbs that I need. And you would just implement this on this billboard under a smart contract being like, I need this many herbs. And some ventures, gives them something to do, some reason to explore towns, to come in there and kind of like, this is where the play to earn comes in, where they can like earn, they can look for the job. They go into the deed to look for the job to like say, hey, I can get this item or I can get this money by going out and getting these herbs and bringing
Like
it
a town
back.
resource board.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's an NFT that fits on one of the decoration plots or if it's just comes with a deed, don't matter. There's an opportunity there for Gala to use as an NFT. Let's just say that they can sell it and then they can take a percentage out of it too. But
We're gonna have to have a talk after this show, my friend.
I would buy one. But yeah, where it just works kind of like a DEX, right? I give you this, you give me this, and where adventures kind of drive the economy, right? So you got adventures going from town to town, doing these. They're in need of the sword, or somebody's giving this sword away if you can give me these resources, or they're giving me materium, which we need to talk about that, for these resources. And it's all done through smart contracts with this billboard, and so the adventurer brings it to this billboard, the contract is met, they get what they need, the merchant gets what they need, and they can just pick it up from the billboard, right? So will the economy be driven and the supply chain be driven by adventurers doing that, or anybody actually doing that, which gives an opportunity to adventurers for real play to earn, right? Or is this left up to like merchants and me going to me and being like, bring me this, you have somebody working for you, or somebody that'll just bring you this stuff, or even both ways. So I just think that's a really good idea that should be implied in this, is this like kind of decentral index, or just exchange, that any players can use. And that's just another way that the economy and the supply chain can kind of work through that. It's just wanderers just strolling up into your town and being like, I'm looking for some work, and they just go straight to the billboard, and here's everybody in this town that needs something, or there's the billboard's empty, there's nobody needs anything in this town, or one person needs anything in this town, and you can kind of like give out quests that way, right? It's kind of like objectives. But that does pose right? Yeah, it poses a threat to the sanctuary idea, though, right? Because the sanctuary was to help new players. Well, if new players can roll into a deed and just go outside the town, I don't know. Maybe sanctuary can do some easier stuff, or provide something a bit easier.
Sanctuary is only going to be for so long, and you're still going to have new players, as we would call them. They're green, because you're not going to get the basics. You're going to get the basics out of the sanctuary.
Yeah, sanctuary should probably where we start
emotion. Yeah, it gets you emotion, but it doesn't give you the skill. It doesn't give you any of the like groundworks of what's really going to be played out once you're out in the field. Like you're not going to get attacked and really hurt while you're in the sanctuary doing those things. You're going to get attacked, and you're probably going to feel some pain, but it's not designed to like wreck you. Once you get out in that field, you're getting wrecked.
Yeah.
By the goblins and the stuff.
True.
And the economy. So.
True.
Systems change.
Trying to find the deeds. Yeah, that makes sense. So maybe sanctuaries work, but that's all I had for that opinion of the billboards.
I like it.
Yeah.
Games like Prospectors that has it. It's set up like that. So instead of you having to like run around and figure out everything, you just go to the billboard. It tells you these jobs are available and you click on it, and they have so many positions, and once those are filled, it disappears.
Yeah, no.
For that job on the board.
It's a great option of how you work the supply chain, and how everything can kind of like work in it. It just gives adventurers like more of a purpose within the economy, where they can help drive it. Because I could see
organizes the entire ecosystem a little bit more.
Yeah, just anyways, what's your opinion on Ethereum? I'm saying it's money, dude.
I'm thinking I want more avatars, but I don't want to buy no more.
Yeah, so if you don't know that, your avatars for, I don't know if they're doing another test, or if it's a test server, if it's actually live whenever they do it, or your avatars will earn you the Ethereum.
I think enough people complained that they weren't getting anything out of doing it, so I think at this point they're giving you something.
Sure. Well, I heard the Voxes are going to have a use in Mirandus, so that might earn you Ethereum. I don't know. Nobody, Ethereums we're told that it's the how you make magic happen, right? If you're sending something through the vault, you need Ethereum, or using some magic, you need Ethereum. This is
sending stuff through the vault, you need Ethereum?
Yeah, if you want to send stuff through a vault from the Citadel to another Citadel, right? Where this person can pick it up in a different Citadel.
So it would be like in magic purpose. You're materializing something to one space to another.
Yep, you need the Ethereum for that.
I thought you were just like to put it in the vault. I was like,
no, it's used for everything. So we heard, like I was listening to one of the Echoes of Empire, one of their AMAs, and they was talking about their dust, right? I don't know if you listened to that at all, Echoes of Empire, the AMA.
No, I haven't. I've been in my own project.
Well, their the money in that game is dust. So, but the dust has two use cases other than the token for that game. It's also used to do missions, and you need this dust to craft things or whatever else. It's got two use cases. It's just cool. It's a cool idea. It's like money is not only money. You need it also to do this, right? So it's got kind of a utility. Money has a utility now rather than just money. So I'm hoping that's what they're going to use Materium as, because that also adds as a sink, as a money sink as well, right? So you're not just constantly accumulating money, you're burning it to perform magical deeds. So
does this completely burn is this like a token that they're doing on like an ERC?
It's not ERC. I imagine that'll be like a Gala chain thing, right? I imagine all their stuff will.
So it's an in-game thing.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Town Coin is is it an ERC20? Or is it like?
No, I just know that I'm not getting.
Well, you can trade it.
I don't even understand how that.
Yeah.
Getting paid on that thing. It's confusing.
It is confusing.
I'm not. I think I'm getting paid for. I just get the basic 100, but it says if you're looking at your NFTs, if you're supposed to be getting that other stuff, but I don't know if that's started yet or not.
Well, it's in your treasure chest, so I assume treasure chest is like Gala chain, right? And you got to mint it off of there for it to be an ERC20. So I assume Ethereum and all their coins will work the same, but I imagine Ethereum, like as long as it's in the Gala chain, right? You use in the Gala chain, and I don't know if it burns, but you use the Materium, it's like exhausted when you use it to create this, or you can mint it off the Gala chain to be an ERC20, or trade it for Gala and then mint the Gala. Who knows? I don't know. It is a bit confusing.
Like a cap on there on how many Ethereums will be total in the world of Mirandus?
No, is there one on Town Coin? Is there a cap on Town Coin?
Honestly,
yeah, I don't either.
I didn't know about anything to do with Town Coin till the other day when you told me if I was mining it or Soundscape when I did.
Anyways, Town or I don't know. I think I was talking to. Is Play for Passive? Is that Soundscape?
Yeah, that Soundscape.
Yeah, I was talking to him. He was, or it might have been somebody else. I was talking to Materium. Like, is it money or is it like its own thing in the game? And he's like, yeah, it's its own thing in the game. And it's like, well, I think it's the money. I think it's the token. But that's still up in the air. But I like the idea of like, the token also having a use case in the game besides the money, which was a cool idea.
Yeah, it keeps it in motion instead of it getting hodled in people's wallets.
Sure. I mean, gives it more use. Yeah, exactly. It has a sink, right? And a lot of the economies, like Jake with his interview also with McCarthy, was talking about inflation of items, right? So like he asked that question to McCarthy, like so maybe it's a broadsword, right, for example, and then you just get oversupplied with broadswords, right? How do you curb that sink? McCarthy mentioned he mentioned that as being a part, like you melt them down to like, get the material back out of it in a lesser form, right? Or stacking. So to make the next item up, you would need like 10 broadswords to make a great broadsword, right? So you would take 10 broadswords, or 20, I don't know, to make the next tier up. And CSC did this with Crypto Space Commanders. They would do something like that, where it'd be like, the next tier up of that item, you would need like 50 of that item to make the next tier above that. So you're always fighting for the next tier.
And that would give broadswords a more valuable thing than just some crappy swords trying to off-ramp somewhere.
Well, broadsword just becomes a crafting item now, or you would need this many of this item to craft this. Well, and it would just go forever.
Also in motion, the blacksmith to break that? Well, they would still have to break the item down, wouldn't they? Like, how do you stack it without, like, in order to make a weapon better, you have to melt it down and then redo it.
I don't know, but it was a really good question, and I wasn't. I'm not a fan. I don't know if I'm a fan of like, so broadsword, right? 10 broadswords to make a great broadsword. All right, 10 great broadswords to make a greater broadsword, right? You just keep going to the next tier. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I really like the burn mechanic, like it's gone, but he's not a fan of burning the NFT. I don't know. I still can't wrap
Still
my
burning
head.
it, right? If you're stacking it, because then how is it still
Well, it
like an
was never.
individual NFT out there?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. Like I asked this, but I don't understand why you can't burn the NFT if you implement it in the Gala chain. Like, okay, you have the ERC20, right? It's the NFT, right? So you put it into Gala chain, and now it can be a burned item. And if you don't want it to be a burned item, you mint it off the chain. So, I keep asking that. I ask the question, and Bent Bender's like, not every blade of grass or everything can be an NFT. Well, I understand that, but not the grass, but any items. If you want to take it and mint it off the Gala chain, then it becomes an NFT. But it's not an NFT in the Gala chain.
Well, I
Where
think they could do that with the like a rarity types scenario,
maybe
so where they could
I'm
like,
sure there's some.
common item,
I'm
there's no point of
100%. I'm
minting
missing
that.
something. There's 100%. I'm missing something, but I'm just like
Yeah.
your shit can get destroyed if you want to take your NFT and put it on the Gala chain within the game to use. But he doesn't like, anyways. He doesn't like the destruction of any of the items. So that's cool because nobody wants to like risk losing their NFT. But uh, except I guess the unless you want to do it in a smart contract, I guess their arena or whatever. But using it in game and having to have it like damaged and then you get it repaired to make it, that's kind of a legit thing. But I don't
Yeah, you
know.
can
Like,
disable an NFT because it's not been repaired or something. It's useless until you do take it in.
yeah,
And it might be a struggle for you to get it repaired because the items that are needed for that repair are above what you're making right now.
how do you make the sync though? How do you keep from
Well,
oversaturation? And he's talked about the stacking, right? 10 great swords to make a greater sword, right? I don't know. So you just keep continuing that.
well, there can't be a sync on a common item like that. That's the point, because the common items are what keeps the mass inertia and movement. If you have a sync on it, and there can only be so many common swords. So what happens when your common sword level is maxed out because the new players have come in, and now you've got 20,000 new players a day rolling in looking for a common sword, which is needed to pretty much get into the role of the game.
Maybe.
So these can't be syncs. These can be melted down to say, because you own that item in your, not say your wallet, but in your inventory at this time. And if you want to upgrade your sword and take it to, say, the armor smith or the blacksmith, whichever they decide to play that out as, and then have that upgraded, you can simply just hand over your sword. That gives you a discount on the sword that you're about to get, which is technically all we're looking at anyways. And then it just plays its motion out that way. I mean, you, to me, you're not going to want to, like, as much as Bitbender is wrong and right in that space about can't make every blade of grass an NFT. Well, that doesn't need to be that way. It just needs to be of value to somebody. So if you've got
Yes.
10,000 of these common swords to somebody and they're stacking up, well, that's their business. Are they selling those to somebody that's going to be useful? But if you're going to the sanctuary and the common sword is to auto give that you go out and earn, there can't be a limit to that, because now the sanctuary is going to get pinched somewhere. So common items would be just an inventory based thing. They can never have an NFT base I mean, if you wanted like mint your NFT that this common sword was yours, the first one that you got in a gala, and you want to be all proud about it, mint away, man. That's your business. You're gonna pay a fee for it, but it doesn't. It's not gonna roll over to the next guy unless they delete common swords from the game, and you have this NFT now, and they can't take that away. That's the only way that becomes actual value because it's a common item.
Right. So,
You
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
even melting down now, right? It's still if your broadsword's an NFT and you melt it down for metal, I mean,
But nobody's gonna want to pay that fee. Like, what's the point of paying a fee for an NFT on a common sword if it's an item that's given to you at the beginning that you pretty much you had to do some basic stuff to get it, maybe, but
well, the
its
idea is
value
like
is 5 cents.
if we're not burning NFTs, how are we melting them down to make the
Oh no,
back
I'm
to
not
the
saying
original
we can
form?
burn NFTs.
They
I'm all
no,
for.
but they said we can't burn it. We're not. Your NFT doesn't get destroyed, right? Your NFT guys will
So,
not be destroyed.
so that means they got to give you a number stack on something.
I don't know.
And if it's a common item, then there's no NFT to burn, so they're not going to destroy it. It would just be an item that's getting melted.
Right, but it's not an NFT until you say it's an NFT. Like, how do you say it's an
Yeah,
NFT?
like I'm saying, it's like the guy that it's like the guy that makes his first $1 million and he kept that first $10 or $5 that he earned from it or whatever, and that goes into the case. Well, if that dollar doesn't have a net value to anybody other than it's a dollar, but to him it's got some significant value because it built his empire, it got him started or whatever. So I mean, if you're that significant person that sees value in things like that and you want to mint that sword, then you pay the fee. But I mean, for the common person that's coming into the game, they're not going to see a value in buying that, minting that sword. They're going to see it as it's a stepping stone. We're going to take this sword, go bash this
Yep.
in, do
Yep.
that, and move forward to my next sword until they get to that suit or that sword or something that really just I'm super, you know what I mean? That's where you're looking at minting stuff.
Yeah, I think that was what mentioned too. Like your just average sword isn't. They're not all going to be NFTs, but you get that really special sword. That one might be an NFT. I don't that you
Hell
can.
yeah, you're running to the store, you're trying to figure out how to get it minted. Just, it's mine. I want this. You know what I mean?
But I'm
But
asking, like, even if you have a broadsword, why can't it be an NFT? Why can't you mint it off the Gala chain as a ERC20 and then
well, that's what I'm
that's
saying. You should be able
doesn't
to.
mean
I
you
think it
should,
doesn't.
but you,
You should be able to. Like
yeah,
that's what I'm
you
saying.
wouldn't
If
want to
there's
because it's
people that
just
have
waste,
sentimental things that get
right?
sentimental to certain things, and that broadsword, that shield, it's a wooden shield that has their first emblem on it. Maybe that becomes an NFT, and that goes into their thing that they hang up, and that's, you know what I mean?
Listen, I don't.
Everybody has their own values for things that we can't understand.
I definitely don't want to be a weaponsmith or an armor smith because it just sounds like a game of keep up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be shoveling poop. It's my job.
Hey, shoveling poop's just like, you ain't got to keep up with that. I mean, you do, but you ain't got to
Well, I say
keep up
I'm
to the
gonna be doing it, but I'm gonna be
next and
watching
greatest poop.
my. Yeah, I'm gonna have a princess that actually shovels my poop there, or shovels the horse's poop. I say, not my poop, but
Touche. Well,
maybe we actually collect that too, because in Ark that was something that you needed.
for sure. I don't know. Is there anything else we can touch on supply chain wise? Is there something I'm missing? I mean,
Nah, I think that
it's
you
just
know
how to build the world, man. To me, right now, how do you build this world?
it's the
How
game
do
of
you talk to each other?
civilization.
Yeah, it is legitly. Like I need to find where this town is so I can sell to them, right? And I'd like to coordinate that before it happens, so I don't have to move my deed to be like, oh shit, I should have landed it here. So Choppa, I'm sorry, we can't really answer the question of the supply chain links, but gosh,
Hope we tried.
I mean, here shortly we got Galacon coming on soon, which I really wanted to go to that, man, but god damn them for having that door between the holidays. I just couldn't make it, but
Prices are just wild for me.
understandably, I think they couldn't get their next booking till July. I heard for anything else, but I hope next year they don't do it between the holidays because I'd really like to have gone to that. But anyways, we're supposed to get some info. I think McCarthy said get some info on how the economy is going to work. So that'll be really great to just get some.
You can I'm always talking about
ideas for
horses.
this 1,000. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get the horses anytime soon, but keep nagging, man.
You know, they see my words as soon as I pop in chat. They all look at the screen. They're like, "Oh crap,
It's that
he's here."
that horse guy, man. Listen, we can't tell you about the horses yet. We're still coming up with it.
Well,
All
you know,
right.
when I ask that question, we get the basics of all story of Mirandus, so his whole
Sure
view of
enough.
it.
Sure enough. All right. Well, Choppa, thank you for the question, man. Thanks for listening. And I don't know. We'll call that an end. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All
You
right.
guys have a wonderful day.
Peace.